Hi everyone, back for episode 2 of Roxy's Journal of Stitchery volume 7, and what I did was printed out two of these and then cut them up so that I had them in ready to make material pieces, and I've cut up the little bits separate, and I've got a whole range of different yellow materials, and I've put an interfacing on the back so as it's easier to cut and it doesn't fray. It's just a very thin interfacing with one side is iron on. It's got little tiny weeny glue beads, so when you iron it on it sticks. Very tiny, you just can't even feel it. So what I've done is put a background over that cotton and cut out all the pieces and pinned them down. So these have all got all of them have that on the back. So what I did was use the shape, turned it upside down, traced around it, and then cut it out. The reason I turned it upside down is because when you turn it back over, it's the right way for your material. I've done lots of different types of materials in the colourway that I'm wanting to use for the Grace Cossington Smith colourways, and then I have traced them all, cut them and pinned them down. I've pinned this backing sheet to give it some background because I want it to be multicoloured, and I have put on a little bit of something at the bottom just to give it a bit of weight. And now I'm up to the stitching. So I feel like I want it to be a little bit sketchy, so even though I'm going to probably invisible stitch most of these pieces, I will also be using a dark thread for a little bit of sketchy line work. But I just really actually want to get rid of the pins at the moment. So I also have utilised a little bit of the colour, so the yellow in this material, but also I used a very warm yellow to do a running stitch around the whole edge of the picture. That's to remind me that I'm thinking of those hot, sweltery, summery kind of days, I guess. So the invisible stitch is just going to help me to get all the pins out. Which will give me just areas to outline with some sort of sketchy, darker thread. Okay, so I'm working my way around the entire thing and removing the pins as I get to each spot, and I will come back at the end when I've finished that and start working on the sketchy stitching. Okay, I'm back. So everything's down, and I've cut also a little hole here because I thought this was a bit busy to write on. So the little hole I've cut here is to put the date, 10th January 2025. It's all soft, it's hard to write on. Breakfast at cafe with Lily. So on my bigger piece, I have been using this for a bit of embellishment. I kind of like the colour, and I'm thinking that instead of a black for the sketchy lines and the type, I might just use this. That'll work because these will tie in with the larger piece. So I think that's what I'm going to give it a go. I also might find something in a similar colour but a bit thicker for the type, because this is going to be quite thin. Although my aim is to do some sketchy kind of line work. So I might be quite happy to do that. So I'll give it a go with the type as well and just see how I feel about it. Okay, so I've got my picture here as a reminder for some of these pieces for the line work on these, and the shadow for this being the table leg behind the chair. And I will just have a little look at how this goes. I'll possibly have to iron it just to get rid of the pink friction pen to see how it looks, and if it's too thin I will go over it again. So I'm just doing a back stitch. I'm quite having fun with this project. I'm really enjoying it. And then possibly won't get it up till tomorrow, and then tomorrow night will be the girls' next prompt coming out. So we'll see how we go. So this is the plan for the type. And also I will be going around these edges as well. Now I might go around a few times, like, you know, if I was doing it on a machine I would definitely go over it a few times, but I've got to stay just to get the effect. I'm going to have to stay just inside the line of the material. So you can see I'm starting to add some definition to the line. And definitely I'm going to be filling in these ones with a lot more stitching, this with a lot more stitching. The plan is where the bolts are for the back of the chair is to probably use some little buttons. I'll have to look through some of the dolls buttons and see if I can get some that are the right size for here. But for now, I'm going to be going around everything and finishing the type and then reassessing how it looks in terms of how many times I need to go round. Do I need thicker cotton? Possibly. Definitely one row of the thin, and then most likely different weights and similar shadings. For more highlighting line work. So here we go. We've started the start of the hand stitching all over it, and I'm going to go off and do some more of this, and I will be back. And if I haven't got it finished, it'll just be in the next video, because after this next one's released we will have quite a bit to do with the next prompt. Well, I will, because I've sort of got a bit behind, but it's really nice. I do love the torn edges and the scrappy edges, but I also like it sometimes making something a bit different that's got that interfacing on that stops it being all frayed. So either way, I like both ways. I do, I like both ways. I'm going to go right around the edge of everything, and I will be back. Okay, I've come back and I have stitched around everything except for a couple of spots, but I thought I would just show how I'm doing the little sugar packets in the jar. So it's all been back stitch all the way around. Not supposed to be absolutely perfect. So I've got my sheet of here with my sketch, photocopy of my sketch. And I'm just turning it as I do each stitch. Sometimes I can get the needle back in through and down like that. And I'm just seeing, here's one sugar thing, another one and another one. So I'm just here going to split the difference, or near enough to, and follow this line up to that little wedge there. On this top bit I actually have done a stitch across, but it's got up under, so I'm just going to have to come back in and just do them a little bit more inside the material, these top ones. So that they're visible. So that's the sugar bowl. Now I know on here I have had a little bit of license to do this one as if the sugar packet's facing and there's a dark wedge there. I haven't ended up doing that on this one. I've just got them all as individual sticks of sugar. I'm not up to thinking about the next part where I want to embellish a bit more. Let's just have a look where my original picture is. So they're all fairly goldeny colour. You can't really see them as well. It's a long way away in the picture, but I've made them a bit bigger on the table. So the other thing I have to do, there's two more things on here before I start having a good look at it and seeing where it wants to go from here. So just cast this off. I've got to finish off the salt shaker. So I've already done the pepper, so the little top bit. These ones had just the circle at the top and a very longish metal bit and then glass. I'm not sure if I'm going to do much more with those, but like I say, I just want to finish these little bits. Oh, before I do that, I'm just going to finish, I missed this bit. The top of the back of the chair leg has this sort of flattened bit. So this is just line work to get that done. So there, I've got it here, lines. I think for me, as I'm doing this and thinking about it, I'm starting to think, do I want to leave it like this, as we've got a fairly hefty next prompt, and that'll take a bit on my larger work? Or do I want to continue working and build it up and build it up and really embellish it? I haven't really thought stylistically about that. I just at the start wanted to really get a bit of a handle on the colours from Grace Crosington Smith. I haven't got little brush strokes or anything like that depicted, which was something I talked about. It is a process, and maybe if I do every single prompt as one of these, I'll get a bit better of my ideas and how I'm going to make them all work together. I have put the stitching with just this cotton, normal cotton, down the side. I feel like I'd like it slightly darker, so I'm not sure if I'm going to make it another strand just going over the top, or just say no, I don't want to touch it because it might actually become messy. It actually does look like a pencil wrote it, so I'm happy with that. So let's finish the salt shaker. So one of the things about the shakers is the pepper had a three, I don't know what you'd call it, like the bottom one's straight and then the two sides, but the salt one has the bottom one straight and then another two extra bits. And I thought with this one, the difficulty was if I start up here aiming for where it's meant to meet up. So I think what I'm going to do is decide here that this is the baseline and that I'm going to come up to a middle point here. Have to turn it to get a good idea of it here. So that midpoint is going to be where I'm going to aim for this middle two. And this one on this side, I'm going to aim it towards that base point there. Got a bit off already. I do like that it's a bit sketchy and it's not absolutely perfect. I love that. And then we've got one more point between the outside edge. And that's going to come up in the middle. To a bit of a midpoint there, I think. And while I'm here, I'm just going to do what I've done for this one, the lines down to just fill it in as if it's shaded. As it is metal compared to clear glass. Just do a few of those and then do that last little line last line. Now if I'm just thinking about shading, there is one other bit that can have these sorts of lines, and that is this part behind the chair, because it was quite dark in the background under the, you know, just it was right up in the background. Okay, is the salt shaker done? I do think that I want to keep that in this thread to keep it uniform. Should have got a bit more thread. Yeah, I think I might do this with a new thread and doubled up, so it's a bit thicker and darker. But you get the idea. So I had originally thought to do 2 little buttons to show these on the back of the chair. Still might do that, but this is where I'm up to with this, and I want to get started on the next prompts. So this is going to be it for this video, and now we've got our ginger vase full of flowers. So I will begin working on that now, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.